1. YG removed Big Bang from their website. Well, it's understandable since none of the members are with YG anymore. Just like how SM don't include FX in their lineup because they've all departed, it's like an unofficial disbandment. Big Bang played a huge part in starting YG Entertainment. G-Dragon especially spent his whole childhood with the company and had a major impact on shaping it into what it is now. But it looks like things have changed lately, and it feels like the end of an era. What's worrying though, is YG's small list of artists. They used to have one of the most iconic lineups in the industry, but now it's almost crickets, and it's totally on them for ending up in this situation because they didn't see the consequences coming. Just imagine if YG had taken the lead and convinced their popular peeps to stick around and create sublabels or renew their contracts. I mean, they had big names like Psy, Epic High, Lee High, Big Mama, 2NE1, iKON, Big Bang, and the Blackpink members. Just think about how much more successful YG could have been if they stuck with them. Plus, YG had the chance to bring in more girl groups to the scene since they had a bunch of super talented female trainees. But, instead of making the most of it, the company didn't do a great job at handling and supporting multiple girl groups at once, which led to these talented trainees leaving. YG is seriously terrible at keeping up with trends. They're all like, we're so exclusive and don't bother with events, shows, or TV because our songs will still dominate the charts without all that useless promotion. Meanwhile, you've got idols from even bigger companies popping up on TV and shows all the time. Last time I checked it's K-pop not Western pop. 2. Pre-releases are a risky game. Pre-release singles are great for fans because they give us more content to enjoy, but sometimes, they actually take away from the excitement and anticipation for the album or title track. I've noticed that in some cases, a song would have done better without a pre-release single. It kind of messes with the flow and impact of the whole album or title track, if you're not a die-hard stan. All those pre-releases can get pretty confusing. It's hard to tell which music videos are just teasers and which one is the actual main track. That might make some people not even bother checking out the main track. Let's take ITZY for example. I was at a point where it was really hard to tell the main song title and the actual comeback date. It was confusing and kind of killed my excitement for the whole comeback. Some groups might do well with this tactic, but it's clear that it's not for everyone. Also, most companies don't understand that pre-releases aren't just throwaway songs. They should be just as good as the main track, and not some forgettable boring B-sides. ITZY, I'm looking at you. I know that some groups have taken advantage of pre-releases. For example, both New Jeans and Blackpink take the pre-release track super seriously, like it's the main single or something. They go all out with the promotion, keeping the hype and excitement going strong for the actual release. It's actually pretty surprising how many people don't realize that. Ditto and How You Like That are just sneak peeks and not the official title tracks. But for most other groups, putting out a random pre-release with no promotion beforehand, just 2 weeks before the album drops, doesn't really build up the hype and excitement like they hope it would. 3. Album sales might have reached a peak. The sales growth that was observed was bound to collapse sooner or later, given the current struggles of numerous economies worldwide in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is evident that people have far greater concerns to contend with than engaging in superficial battles over sales within K-pop fandoms. Furthermore, the Chinese market experienced a significant decline in bulk purchases during the latter half of 2023 as a direct result of economic challenges. Consequently, numerous groups have been adversely affected by this downturn, witnessing a notable decrease in their album sales. Additionally, it is important to note that album sales cannot continue to rise indefinitely, particularly at the remarkable exponential rate they have been experiencing. If the trend persists, it is conceivable that the benchmark for success will shift to reaching 10 million album sales, rendering any figures below that as insignificant or unremarkable. Nevertheless, it is plausible to anticipate a potential plateau in the near future due to consumer burnout and fans opting to allocate their financial resources towards other endeavors. 4. There're gonna be a lot of group that renew with their companies for group activities, but sign with another company for their solo careers. Basically, we're gonna see more and more situations where the group kinda fizzles out, without a proper disbandment announcement. Example of this are Mamamoo, CLC, Blackpink, Mamaland, and the list goes on. Honestly, most of the time, I think the group is really breaking up and the companies are just trying to save face and keep control of the group name. It's pretty sad to see people talking about it like it's a good thing when in reality, there won't be much group stuff to look forward to after all that. It's like these companies have figured out a new way to squeeze every penny out of the group before it's done for good. I think it's better to give fans a proper ending instead of just teasing or dragging things out. 5. Calling a hype group Nugu is ridiculous. I have seen so many people calling From Is 9 and Team and Boy Next Door Nugu, and it's not correct. Let's look at each group individually. First, From Is 9. They do well on Korean charts, their comebacks gets a lot of traction. They sell about 200,000 unit with each comeback, which is more than most others groups that have millions of views and multiple music show wins. And for Boy Next Door, even though they are new, you can't underestimate their impact. Despite being rookies, they already have a huge and loyal fan base. Their first single album was a massive success, selling over 100,000 copies and breaking records for a new group. They've also gained a massive following on social media, with over 10 million views. They've even won awards on music shows. With all these achievements, it's clear that this group has the potential to become pretty big. It's just a matter of time, maybe a year or two. Next up we have Team, which are created to focus more on the Japanese market. They've gotten really popular lately, mostly because they've been collaborating with a bunch of Korean shows like Mnet and Music Awards specials. They also do a lot of promotional stuff on their YouTube channel. Because of all this, they've gained a ton of fans. Their latest release in Japan sold a crazy 200,000 albums. And they're topping the charts in both Oricon and Billboard Japan. Plus, they're killing it on social media too. They might not be as big in South Korea anymore since they're not technically K-pop, but their popularity in Japan is undeniable. It's clear that they're only going up from here. However, these three groups are often mentioned as proof that HYBE has less popular groups, but it's important to note that they are not exactly unknown or nugu, even if they were the least profitable groups in HYBE, compared to other smaller groups. Their popularity is huge, and it's important for people to understand what nugu really means before making such statements. Plus, it's super important for people to have patience and wait a good amount of time, like 2 to 3 years, before labeling groups as nugu or failure. You can see this in famous groups like BTS, 17, Stray Kids, ATEEZ, Luna, and Dreamcatcher. They've all gone through a ton of growth and hard work to get where they are now. 6. 8turn's comeback with Rupumpum was a letdown. Although I initially wasn't a fan of 8turn's debut, I was pleasantly surprised by their first comeback single, Excel, as it grew on me over time. Like many rookie groups, I believe that 8turn has a lot of untapped potential, especially in their ability to harness the energetic and lively rock sound they showcased during the previous summer. However, their latest single, Rupumpum, takes them in a completely different direction, which marks a significant decline for them. If I had the power, I'd totally ban the term Rupumpum in the industry. It's just become so overused and cheesy that it's lost any positive meaning. These phrases that so many groups use to add sound effects are way too repetitive and sugary, like they're just trying to fill space when they can't come up with anything original. And 8turn's Rupumpum tries to be catchy by rhyming with yeah we know we dope, da 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 dope dope, but it just falls flat and doesn't really get you excited. It's like a lame attempt without any of the charm. The only decent part of this song is when it channels the classic vibes of old school hip-hop, and the verses have a playful and sporadically exciting feel to them. But it feels like the song is just trying to imitate NCT, with the guys' vocals overpowering the intense production. Hopefully, their company doesn't keep going in this disappointing direction because it's outdated and they have so much untapped potential to explore.